Bob Kerrigan back with you on The Law Show. Thank you for watching The Law Show. We're here every Sunday morning, 9:30 to 10:30. You can fax us, email us, or communicate in a variety of ways now. We are also text messaging through our main number, which is 850-444-4444. You can text message us right now, and we'll respond to you right now. The questions that you send us, if we pick one, we'll put it on the air. If you don't mind us saying your first name, even your last name, if you want us to, we'll be glad to do that. You can send it to us by text. If you prefer to email, email is easy. It's my name, Bob at Kerrigan.com, Kerrigan.com. You can email us or text us, or you can call us on the main number, 850-444-4444 in Northwest Florida. I think it's probably good all across Northwest Florida, but our Fort Walton Beach, our old Fort Walton Beach numbers, so we still use it. It's 244-1111. That's Crestview and Fort Walton Beach. We have an office in Crestview. Panama City is 871-5000. We have offices across the Panhandle. Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson is a civil trial law firm. All of the partners who are practicing are board certified by the Florida Bar as civil trial lawyers. We are specialists in that field and undertake serious cases. We don't file nuisance lawsuits. We don't file frivolous lawsuits. We actively will address and help someone file a complaint against a lawyer that has filed a frivolous lawsuit or harassing lawsuit solely for the purposes of filing a lawsuit. Many years ago, any lawyer, let's say maybe 25 years ago, any lawyer could file a lawsuit against a doctor. Didn't have to have any expert tell them that there was malpractice. You just get up and file a lawsuit against a doctor. So you have a physician who spent 10 to 15 years in training, and our professional reputation and careers have been so hard fought to get and so arduous to reach the point where these physicians are finished with their education and are practicing, that a lawyer files a goofy lawsuit that hurts a physician when there was no decent factual basis even to think there was a lawsuit. Well, that's changed now, and it's changed for the better. In order to bring a claim for medical malpractice, you have to have a board certified, you have to have a specialist. Invariably, it's a board certified specialist in the same field where the physician is involved in the case. You can't just go find some doctor someplace to file an affidavit. You need an affidavit from the physician expert that you're consulting with. You can't just go hire anybody to do it. You've got to find competent people to do it. I'm not saying there aren't lawyers somewhere that will file a claim using an expert that is marginal or barely qualified. We don't do that. We try to find the top experts we can find because we want to know for our client's sake, is there a problem here that should be pursued? It's called a breach of the standard of care. That is, something was done that should not have been done, or they failed to do something they should have done. And we only want to pursue cases that are meritorious, that are justified, and for which we have top flight experts evaluating them. It's not only good for our clients, but it's good for the medical profession. It's fair to the doctors. No doctor wants to be sued. I understand that. I have medical people throughout my family. I understand exactly why they don't, and I don't blame them. So we don't just up and file a lawsuit. I think the last year we get between 500 to 1,000 inquiries minimum a year, that deal with medical malpractice. And we're not the only law firm that does this. There are other law firms that do these cases as well. So we look at a lot of instances, and we cannot take most of the cases. It requires a very, very serious injury or a death, and it must have a board-certified specialist tell us, yes, there was a violation of the standard of care here, and this should not have happened, and then we pursue the case. But it's even better now for physicians because we are required to give them 90 days notice that we intend to bring a claim so that their experts can review the case as well, and they have an opportunity then to try to settle the case with us or to resolve it without a formal complaint. Complaint is what they call the lawsuit is called a complaint, without the formal complaint being filed. So I think the system is good. It's not perfect. It is not perfect, but I've had many physicians tell me that they want me and us to pursue a case if there is a doctor that is not doing the right thing, should not be practicing. We've had cases against physicians that are no longer practicing in the area because of claims that we brought. And we're pleased that is the case because it meant that other patients wouldn't suffer from poor or substandard care. Here's what's so difficult for physicians. If they complain about another physician in the hospital that does the same kind of work they do, and they would know, they're the only ones who would know. I mean, a surgeon would only know about other surgeons. He wouldn't know about somebody that does non-surgical practice. They understand surgery, and they know if there's good surgery and bad surgery, and they hear it from the nurses and the OR staff, and also they know. But if they complain to the hospital administration, listen, we've got a surgeon here that's not doing right, has a terrible infection rate, or whatever the issue is, then they face a complaint from that physician that you're interfering with that physician's right to practice medicine, and it's antitrust, that you're trying to eliminate competition. And so physicians are hard-pressed to really do this themselves. It's very difficult for them to do this themselves. And that is to make a complaint about another surgeon or another physician in a similar healthcare facility, similar healthcare occupation or profession. It's very difficult for them to pursue that. Enter the lawyers. As I said, is it a great system? It's not a great system, but it's a good system, and it's the best we've developed to date. It's the best so far. We keep trying to improve it. I think the legislature has addressed this and done a good job in trying to improve it to make it as fair as possible, not only for the patients, but as fair as possible for the physicians and the hospital. And again, what are we talking about? Medical malpractice. Who does that apply to? It applies to physicians, hospitals, dentists, and other healthcare providers. It does not apply to nursing homes, and it does not apply to assisted living facilities. They have separate rules. There are separate statutes that govern this. So let me just cover a couple of other things. I don't know how I got started on this because I was going to talk about something else, which I'll get to in a minute. But I do want to explain about this medical malpractice thing because we get so many calls from viewers about it and from our prospective clients, people that call our law firm. By the way, when we evaluate a case like this, we don't charge anybody. And here's the really sad part about this system. Let's say of these 1,000 cases in a given year, we take 15 or 20 cases. So the vast majority of the cases, not cases, but calls that we get from people who think they might have a case, and we explain to them, they'll reject the case for whatever reason, and we try to explain to them why it's not medical malpractice, and we basically help the doctor or the hospital. We basically help them by explaining to their patient that this was not medical malpractice. It was a bad outcome, but it was not medical malpractice. So we we explain that to them. But because the caller is calling us in confidence, we can't tell that physician or that hospital how we've talked to their patient and how we help them. And we help them by explaining to them that it was not a violation of the standard of care, that they had a bad outcome, or they had an eventuality that was not foreseen, but was under the umbrella of possibilities that were not medical malpractice. But we can't tell anybody that. And so what do we hear? Criticism. All the lawyers, they're just out trying to get cases. They're just out trying to get cases. Well, that's true with a lot of the advertising lawyers. There's no question. People that advertise every night, yeah, they're desperate. They need cases as fast as they can get them to process this gigantic machinery of whatever they're doing. But that's not most lawyers. Okay, that's just a few that they are not looking for cases. Most lawyers are busy. Good lawyers are always busy. Good lawyers are busy, okay? And there's a lot of good lawyers around. You just have to be careful when you make your selection. We'll tell you more about that. In the last segment today, we'll tell you more about what you should ask any lawyer that you hire, not only in the civil field where we are, but any lawyer that you interview. How you interview that lawyer, what kind of questions you want to ask. It's very, very difficult. I mentioned this in the previous segment. It's very difficult because you have nothing to compare it to. You see full-page ads all over the place for these hearing aid clinics, okay? Not the regular PhD clinics like Hearing Life or one of the well-known places that think they're at Sacred Heart. But I'm talking about just the retailers, the people that just sell hearing aid. You see these big ads and full page ads. It's because the profit margin is so high that they run these ads to generate business, and it's understandable. But at least you can compare them. At least you have something in your hand. At least you can say, well, this is such, this costs, so, $4,000 or $3,000, whatever it is. And now this one costs this, and you can read in Consumer's Digest, or you can do Google searching or whatever. There's ways for you to determine it. You can't do that with lawyers. It's almost impossible because you don't really know how to compare them. You can't go drive one around, you can't compare them, you can't shop very well. It's very, very difficult. So we have some questions that we think are beneficial that you should ask. The Florida Bar has some very good questions on the client's statement of rights that we highly recommend that those statement of client's rights be provided to prospective clients. We do that with all our prospective clients. But there are questions we're going to help you address. But I told you I was going to mention about a case we're investigating, and I will right now. And it occurred at the Love truck stop at mile marker 70. This poor guy was putting gas in his car, and somebody in a U-Haul van came up. And this was, I think, about a week or 10 days ago. And the person driving the van just ran over this poor guy who's now in the hospital. So we're looking for witnesses to that. This is the Law Show. Bob Kerrigan with you, and we will take a short break and be back for our final segment next.